Jennifer from Flux. In this video, I'm going to show you how to crochet these super cute and really easy high desert earrings. We're going to make them together step by step, including the crochet part, the entire crochet part, and the assembly of them as well. We're going to start by crocheting this circle out of some half double crochet stitches. We're going to learn how to make a tassel with no special tools involved. Then we're going to attach our tassel and bead to the bottom and finally add some earring backs. So I'm going to take you through every step of the way. Again, these are so easy to make. They only take a few minutes and you can make a bunch of them for the warm weather. Now I chose this like coral kind of terracotta color for the circle, and then we did like a turquoise aqua tassel. So you can mix and match the colors however you like, and they take such a small amount of the embroidery floss, which I'll show you in a minute, that you could really make all kinds of them in many different colors and different beads. You can mix and match the beads as well. You could try some glass beads. These are wood beads, but you could try glass or like something bright. And again, they're really easy to make. So let's get started. The finished earrings are about 3 inches from the top to the very bottom of the tassel, and each one of these circles is about 1 inch. However, you can kind of vary the sizing a little bit by, if you wanted to subtract the bead, it will make it a little bit shorter, and how much you clip off of the bottom of your tassel when you're done will kind of determine the tassel's height as well. For this project, you'll need a pair of scissors, a tapestry or yarn needle, one on the smaller side because we are going to be using some embroidery floss and it's a lot thinner. So just a needle that's on the smaller side to weave in your ends. You'll need 2 post backs for earrings. So this has like a flat platform. We're going to be gluing it onto the back. And then a backing. Now you can find this in the beading aisle or the jewelry aisle of your craft store. Sometimes the posts come by themselves, sometimes the earring back is included. So you may have to get the backing separately. It's up to you and what you can find at your store. We're going to be using 2 wood beads, 1 per earring. These are just kind of a natural wood. You could use a color, or some of them have like some clear finish or dark wood, or these are just some light wood kind of unfinished beads I'm going to be using. I liked the color with my embroidery floss colors. We're going to be using a 3.5 millimeter E crochet hook for this project. And then our glue, we're going to be hot gluing our earring backs onto the back of our little crochet disc circle that we're going to be making. Now I'm going to be using hot glue, but you can also use craft glue if you like. You can get like the tacky craft glue, which is nice. You will have to let that dry for a few hours or overnight if you do use that. This will be done in just a few minutes. So totally up to you and what you have. You'll need 2 skeins of embroidery floss. This is the DMC cotton embroidery floss. You can really find this in any craft store. It comes in tons and tons of colors. Now I have this coral, this like light coral color I have is number 352, and this aqua color I have here is number 964. This is very inexpensive. These were around 50 cents a piece. And so you'll need 2 colors for that. I'm going to be using this for our crochet circle and this for our little crochet tassel at the bottom. So let's get started. We're going to start by making the crochet circle part. That's going to kind of be like the foundation of the entire earring. So whenever you have a skein of embroidery floss, you'll always see that there's an end here. You'll want to leave your labels on. This will really help keep everything nice and neat. So when you pull this end, make sure you hold both labels in your hand as you're pulling, and it will come out nice and neat for you every time, okay? Now if the labels come off, try to slip them back on because it really does help keep everything nice and neat. Okay, so what we're going to do is I'm going to slide this out of the way and we're going to crochet our circle. Now I'm going to make mine in this kind of orangey color. You can do yours in any color you like. So what we need to do, and I'm going to zoom in just a tiny bit more because this is really small. What we're going to do first is put a slip knot on our hook. So to begin, wrap the yarn around your fingers to make a loop. Bring the yarn behind the loop, reach in with your hook, bring up a loop, and tighten. Next, what we're going to do is chain 4. We're going to be creating a ring that we will be working all of our stitches into. As a side note, if you prefer the magic ring for this part, please feel free to do that. It's totally up to you. But for a starting chain type ring, what we're going to do is chain 4. To make a chain, wrap the yarn around the hook and bring it through the loop. That's 1, 2, 3, and 4. And then we're going to join in the farthest chain from our hook with a slip stitch to close the ring. So insert your hook into that farthest chain from the hook, bring up a loop, now bring that loop through the loop that's already on your hook, and then you can kind of open up your ring a little bit, okay? We're also going to hold this tail along the edge as we work, and that will weave that in as we go along. Next, we're going to chain 2. This is going to count as one of our half double crochets that we're going to be making. So 1 and 2. Then we're going to work 24 half double crochets into the center of the ring, okay? So to make a half double crochet, wrap the yarn around the hook, insert it into the center of the ring, bring up a loop. You'll have 3 loops on the hook, wrap yarn around hook, bring it through all 3 loops, and that's the half double crochet. So we're going to do a total of 24. So that was 1, and then 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. And as a side note, you'll want to make sure when you're doing this that just go nice and slow. It is a little small and fiddly. 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, and then if you need to push things back, go ahead and do that. 16, still holding that tail along the edge as we work. 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, and 24. So we have a nice little crochet disc now to work with. So then when you're done, remember that chain 2 we did it at the beginning of the round? What you'll want to do is count 2 chains up and join with a slip stitch to close. So insert the hook into that second chain up, wrap yarn around hook, bring up a loop. Now bring that loop through the loop that's already on your hook, and our little circle is done. We're going to straighten things out in just a moment. So we're going to snip the yarn now, and then we're going to fasten off. Wrap the yarn around the hook and bring it through the loop. Okay, so now we need to kind of straighten our circle out a little bit. Now I'm going to leave my circle open in the middle just to give it a little bit more visual interest. But if you wanted to close up your circle a little bit more, you could just give this inner tail that we were holding along the edges we worked, you can just give that a tug and it'll pull that circle closed a little bit, okay? So just kind of go around and straighten your circle out a bit, get it how you want it. And then what we can do is grab our little tapestry needle, and we're going to just thread it. Now this was the tail where we left off, where we finished, okay? We're just going to thread it, and we're going to just run it through the back loops of these stitches on the back of our circle. Again, go nice and slow and take your time because it is very small. Okay, so just go right in there and thread that up, okay? So just weave in those ends, just like that. And then you can give it a little snip. And then you can also give that other tail a snip because we did weave that as we went along, as we were crocheting. And just be very careful when you snip this tiny little stuff that you're cutting the right things and not the wrong things. So just make sure you're cutting your tails, not some stitches, okay? All right, so get your little circle straightened out again if need be. You can kind of pull it and push it how you need it to go. Now we're going to add a little tassel to the bottom. And as we add the tassel, we will incorporate our bead as well, okay? So once again, what you'll want to do is pull, remember holding both of those labels, you want to grab your end and pull some of this embroidery floss out, okay? Then what you want to do is cut a piece about 6 to 8 inches long, cut a second piece about 6 to 8 inches long. We don't need to measure, just, long enough to tie around your tassel in just a moment. And then what we're going to do is create our tassel. So we can kind of scoot these out of the way. We're going to hold our floss down the front of our fingers and we're going to wrap around 2 fingers. So every time we make a pass up over our index finger, we'll count that as 1. Okay, so go around, and that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8. Come back down, grab your scissors, give it a snip. Okay, now what we're going to do, without letting go of what we've done just now, we're going to take this other strand and we're going to tuck it in our little bundle, and then you can carefully slip it off. And then we're going to take our 2 ends and just kind of tie it at the top. I'm going to do it twice. So I tied it once and then I'll tie it again. Okay? We're going to leave these intact because we're going to use these to tie them to our little circle and incorporate our bead with them. Okay? So now you can take your bundle and kind of straighten things out, and we're going to lay our floss down and just kind of lay that down like so that our piece is kind of under our bundle. And then we're going to tie our little bundle together, leaving a little part at the top here, just like that. And then tie it once more. Now, whenever you make a tassel, I've mentioned this in other videos, you'll have a piece that kind of sticks straight up and one that like lays nice and flat all nicely. So the one that's kind of sticking up, we'll take care of that one. So just thread your needle, and then we're going to just take our needle and just kind of tuck that end under the band that we just created, okay, just to kind of get it to lay down a little bit nicer. Okay, so just pull that one down, and then what we can do is you're going to have some loops here at the bottom and some long tails. So we want to sort of get our loops, so get those cut, and then get everything straightened out. Now, I'm just going to kind of give these a preliminary trim, and we're going to cut them back a little shorter in just a minute. But just kind of cut those back like so. And scoot that out of the way. Now, let's assemble this a little bit. Okay, so we're eventually going to be gluing our post onto the back of our circle. So if you have a side of your circle that you would prefer to tie your tassel, and I'm going to do it where I made the join because it kind of dips a little bit. Let's do that now. So what we can do is take our 2 ends, and I'm going to cut these flush, and then thread our wood bead. You can give the floss a little twist to kind of make it into a point. And we're going to just thread our wood bead. If you have trouble, just use your needle as a helper, okay? So here's our bead and our tassel. And then what we're going to do is we're going to grab one of these ends here and thread it onto our needle. And then just kind of come in with our circle and tie it on there, or thread it on there rather. Okay, so just bring it through like that. And then you can flip this over to the back. The back is the side that faced away from you while you crocheted the circle. And we're just going to tie this together. So just tie it real nice and neat. Now when we go to glue our earring back, we can put a little dot where that bead is so that nothing shifts around. Okay, and we're just going to tie it one more time. And then what you can do is you can either thread this back through the bead, or you can cut it flush. I'm going to cut this a little bit flush because it's going to be the back of my earring. And anytime you have a little knot in your work, you could also add a little dot of glue and it'll kind of permanently seal that knot shut, okay? So just kind of straighten everything back out. Get your circle nice and neat again and your tassel. And our earring is more or less complete. Let me just get my tassel in order here. There's one has a little wrinkle in it, so I'm just going to kind of smooth it down here. But you want to get your tassel in order, your bead, your circle. And now we're ready to glue our backs on. So let's do that next. Okay, our earrings are all done. I went ahead and made the second one just so you could see them both. The only thing we need to do now is to glue the earring backs onto our earrings. So the last thing you want to do though, before you do that, is just make sure that your little tassels are the same. So this one was a tiny bit longer, so I'm just going to give it like the teeniest little trim just to make sure they're nice and even. So you can kind of like smooth those out. Just make sure everything looks nice and neat. And let's glue our backs on now. So I went ahead and kind of heated up my hot glue gun off to the side here while I was making the second one. So what we can do now is take one of our earrings. You can leave the back right on there. You don't even have to take it off. But grab one of your earrings and we're going to glue it to this top part here, okay? So what I like to do is put it onto the metal, not the floss, okay? So just put a little blob, not too much. We don't want it to seep through or to blob out on the sides. We just want to keep things nice and neat. If you get those hot glue strings, we can always pull those off later. And then just lay it on there. You don't need to press too hard, but just kind of lay it right on there and make sure that top edge of metal isn't going to show when you're wearing them. And also that it's not going to show through that middle hole if you've left the middle hole like I did. And then what we want to do is flip our other one over and just repeat. So we're just going to lay a little bit of glue down on this pedestal here and then just kind of drop it down really nice and gentle and slow, and then just sort of tap it into place. We're not going to like squash it down, but we're going to kind of tap it into place, okay? Make sure that they're completely cool and dry before you handle them. Okay, our earrings have cooled and dried and they are totally ready to wear. So that is how you crochet the high desert earrings. Thanks so much for watching, and be sure and click the subscribe button to get all the latest Flux video updates. Thanks again.